I'm going to talk about stropping, the strops I use, and the different compounds and emulsions that I use for stropping. Disclaimer, you don't need this much stuff. I have more strops and more compounds even than this. If you are new, you can very likely get by with one or two strops and one or two different kinds of compound or grits of compound or emulsion. If you are very new and aren't even really confident with your sharpening, you do not need a strop. The exception to that statement is if you have these type of basic generic Amazon type water stones. I have spoken about these on my channel before, and I recommend them actually for people who are trying to learn how to sharpen freehand or are getting into waterstone sharpening. I recommend these for practicing. If you are using these, you do need a strop because they won't provide a sufficiently sharp edge without stropping, in my experience. Once you know how to sharpen, stropping can be beneficial to further refining your edge to a higher level of sharpness. For example, if you can get your knives to a certain level of sharpness that I'm going to say is 90%, you might be able to get your knife to a 95th or 100th percent for your skill by using a strop. So it can push your sharpness to a slightly higher degree of refinement. Stropping can also be useful if you have your knife sufficiently sharp and you use it for something that dulls it a little bit. You can strop your knife to get your edge back to its original sharpness or close to back to its original sharpness. Stropping can help kind of maintain your knife at a significantly high level of sharpness without spending a long time doing a longer session of actual sharpening. So stropping can be a form of touching up your knife edge if you've used it a little bit. Some people will argue that you can strop back a knife edge if you've used it a lot. Some of this is splitting hairs about what is a lot, what is a little bit, and how dull your knife really got. So your experience and results may vary, but in general, stropping is useful for getting your knife to a slightly higher degree of sharpness than what you may have been able to get, and for touching up your knives if you've used them a little bit. Disclaimer, I do not have any affiliation with any company or product, and I've purchased all these items myself. I want to start out by talking about compound, and specifically this chromium oxide or whatever it's called, wax crayon type compound. I believe this stuff can work. If you are new and this is what you have, or this is what came with your strop, I think it can work. You will hear people saying that it doesn't, but I do think it's inferior than diamond or CBN emulsion compound. I do think it's significantly inferior to that, but I do think it works. So if you're new and this is what you have, don't despair, don't be discouraged. These diamond and CBN emulsions can be very expensive. If this is all you have, you will probably be able to get it to work. It is my opinion and my experience that some of these don't work very well, but I have been able to get them to work. Again, I think they work less well than that. But my recommendation, if somebody were just buying stuff and they don't have anything, I would steer clear from these, and I would save your money and try to get good diamond or CBN emulsion compound if you can. If you can't afford it, that's okay. If this is all you can afford, go for it. These in particular came with this anger stone strop. I'm kind of trying these out. So this anger stone strop is loaded with the red and white from its own strop. And so I'm trying this out. I haven't been able to use it enough to know if this compound works very well. So I'll have to keep you posted on that. But I am trying this stuff to see how well it works. This piece, as you can see, is huge. It's 5 times bigger than these other ones. This giant piece came with my Tanahutu beginner set water stones. I have quite a few videos on those. If you want to look at that, you can. I'm trying this compound out just because I reviewed those stones and I want to know if this compound works. One, because this is a huge amount. If it works, that's actually a great value. And two, because I was reviewing those stones, I figured I should review the compound as well. So I have it loaded in a block of wood, and I've tried it a little bit, and so far I haven't been able to get it to work. But I think part of that was I needed to get the wood surfaced correctly, and part of it is I think I need to get this compound broken in a little bit before it's going to work. So far, not much luck with this, but I haven't tested it for very long. The next wax type crayon compound I want to talk about came with this strop. This is a 4-sided bat type strop made by DLT Trading. I bought it at DLT Trading. It comes with this cavern here. So if you buy one of these strops from DLT Trading, it will come with these 3 Bark River brand crayon type compounds and the hole that you can put it in with this bag. These Bark River crayon compounds work very, very well. I've tried these a lot. I have never had a bad result with them. They work almost immediately and they work well. I do recommend these. You can buy them in the set. They are 3,000 grit, 6,000 grit, and 12,000 grit. So if you're into this kind of compound, in my experience, which is limited, these are the only crayon-based wax kind of compound that I can really, really recommend. Otherwise, I would just probably buy some kind of diamond or CBN emulsion. So as you can see, those just fit nice and neatly back in there. Plug the hole and flip that over to kind of lock it in. It's not very secure, but so if you buy one of these strops, they will come with that compound. I can't remember the exact price. You can look it up, but I got them from DLT Trading if you're interested in that. They come with the compound anyway, so if you're gonna buy one of these strops, you'll get the compound. Now I'm going to talk about diamond or CBN emulsion sprays or liquids. I have way more of these than I need, partly because frequently these will come with a strop. So if I purchase a strop, these will sometimes come with it. So I've taken advantage of that to try different compounds, different grits, but this is way more than you actually need. Let me share with you some basic thoughts about diamond/CBN emulsion compounds. So here I have Gendy. This happens to be 4 micron. And stroppy stuff. This happens to be 0.25 micron. So I just want to point out that both of these brands, to my knowledge, use some kind of pump or spray, or both, I guess, pump spray action delivery system. I'll talk about Gendy. Gendy was the first diamond or CBN emulsion stropping compound that I got, and it's quite expensive, but it works very well. I have no problem with the compound and how it actually works. The problem I have is with this delivery system. So I believe they've changed their nozzle a little bit over time. I think I have a different one that looks a little different. So I don't know if it's to do with bigger grit, because obviously you're limited in how big of grit you can use with the tiny, tiny little hole, because the hole will get clogged with the particulates. Little diamond or CBN chunks of actual cutting agent will actually clog and make it so these things don't work very well. So I don't know what the limit is for the micron size versus whatever delivery system they're using. But the problem I have with both of the Gendy systems, both of the bottles that I've had, regardless of what the nozzle looks like, have a ton of overspray / splashback. So what that means is I go to spray this, and I'm not even going to demonstrate this. It is so bad that I'm not even going to demonstrate it because it will literally spray stuff everywhere. I don't want to get it on my phone, which I'm using to film. So this particular strop, this is a Sharpal strop that I've loaded with Gendy compound. When I spray it on here, the part I want makes a nice glob here that I can spread around, but then there's a bunch, literally too many to count, little tiny splashes everywhere. It got all over my shirt. It will get all over everything here. So when I figured that out, I spread it around. Then I went out to my garage to spray it because I didn't want to make a mess in my house. So I was standing over my garbage can in my garage, and when I sprayed it on, it literally sprayed little tiny overspray particulates all over my wall. And so this stuff is very messy to apply. This stuff is very messy to apply onto your strop. It makes a huge mess, and to me, that is a deal killer. It's also quite expensive, but the cost, it might be worth it because it really does work. But in my opinion, it is a deal killer because it's just too messy to actually apply.
Besides just the mess, which is significant, overspray and splashback equals wasted material, which equals wasted money. I don't have any way to measure what percentage of my spray resulted in splashback or overspray, but it is significant.
So stroppy stuff also has a pump system, and the only one I've used is the 0.25. I don't know if their other grit sizes work better or worse, but this spray bottle has much less overspray than the Gendy was. I was able to apply this in my house without making too big of a mess, and it worked pretty well. Its overspray is significantly less than the Gendy, but it still does have a tiny bit, and it's a little bit hard to control how much you get. But it does work. You can spray it onto the wood or leather and smear it around with your finger, and this is totally acceptable. It's not a deal killer at all, but just be advised it does have some overspray. On the other hand, this is a 2-ounce bottle. They have it in 2-ounce and 1-ounce bottles. This bottle is not marked with how big it is. I can't remember. This little bottle is about half the size, and this little one is marked at 20 millimeters. So I don't know if these are 40 or 50 milliliters. I'll try to find out. But this is 20 milliliters. It's significantly smaller. So that's the small size of the Gendy. Now, Bark River, this is 2 ounces, and this is 1 ounce. This is how big the bottles are. Both of them have the same delivery system. 1 ounce, 2 ounce, which is this sort of dropper. These are very squeezable, but it's pretty thick plastic, so these are quite durable. I've never had any trouble with them breaking, cracking, or anything. And they just have quite a large opening, but they're squeezy. So you can see bubbles coming out of there even. So you just squeeze it. So you get quite a bit. I mean, you get a lot of material for your money. This is it next to the large Gendy one. But here's the deal. This compound works fine. I've not actually noticed too much of a difference in terms of how the compound actually works. Once it's on the strop, Gendy and Bark River both work fine. I have no problem with how they actually work once they get on the strop. But here is a 4-sided bat type strop that I have loaded with this Bark River emulsion, and I'm going to show you. So I'm just going to pick a spot right here. I've hardly even used this, by the way. This is basically just brand new from when I did this. But this is why this stuff's so amazing. I forgot I need to shake this. Always, regardless of which one you use, shake it really, really good, because all the stuff will settle down to the bottom. Okay, so I gave that a good shake. See, it doesn't even make a mess in the cap, as long as you don't squeeze it while you're shaking. So check this out. I'm going to put a little drop here. So there's my compound. You smear it, rub it in. So this is what you would do with the whole thing. But look, I can do a tiny drop. So I could have just gone and smeared this whole thing over this and rubbed it in, which is what I would do when I was first starting this. If you're first loading the strop, you would smear enough to cover the entire thing. But I can just do a tiny little piece of drop. I can just do the teeniest little drop there. I have total control over where this goes. If I just have one little tiny spot on my strop, like right here, there's a little tiny corner that didn't get it. Oh dear, oh no. Look, I just covered that teeny little tiny spot that had no compound on it. It was tiny. I mean, a couple millimeters. And I could just let this dry on there if I wanted. And it would soak that in. But there is no way that I could do that with either of these systems. If you're using spray, you can try to do a teeny little spritz, like just don't push very hard and you'll get just a little bit to come out. But you're gonna get more than you want. And it's gonna go all over. It'll go all over the handle, it'll go all over the sides, it'll go shooting over here. Some of it might even come, you might even get some that comes off onto another side that you don't even want that compound on and cross-contaminate your thing. So, in summary, I prefer systems that are not spray. I cannot think of a single reason why this dropper style system, this bottle that just drops on there, in which I have almost 100% control on how much I get and where exactly it goes, I cannot think of a drawback to this delivery system over a spray bottle, pump spray type system. This is way easier to apply. Absolutely no wasted product other than what just sticks to your finger. And I use rubber gloves, by the way, when I do that. So very little of it absorbs into my finger. But this delivery system is by far the best. And that is the main reason why I choose this compound. I also believe it's more cost effective. But the delivery system alone is a selling point to me on this stuff. So that's my thoughts on those. All of the diamond and CBN emulsions I've tried work well. I just don't like their delivery method. This delivery method is so much superior to me that this is what I prefer, and I will avoid buying spray type delivery systems if I can help it. I had to get this one because I wanted to try stroppy stuff, and this is the only way it was sold. So now I'm just going to talk about some of the strops I have and what compounds I have on them and why I do or don't like them. So most of the strops I don't like, I don't have here. All of the strops I'm going to present to you are strops that I am currently using and or trying / testing. One of my main strops that I use is this Sharpal. These are available at Amazon for like $17. These work well. I have several of them. I have one, the one I showed you previously with my Gendi compound. That one works just fine with Gendi compound in it. I just usually keep this one more readily available because I've modified it by purchasing a Work Sharp ceramic and a Work Sharp 800 grit diamond plate. These are for the Work Sharp Precision Adjust Original, the smaller one. You can buy these aftermarket. They come with sticky tape because that's how they stick to the rod. And so they just come with sticky tape. You just peel it off and it fits perfectly on there. So this way I have access to a ceramic. If I'm trying to touch up an edge that has slight damage, rolling or a burr or something, I can use this ceramic to refine that and then go back to my strop. So that's why I have these both on here, one diamond 800 and one ceramic, just to help me refine my edge if I'm having a problem. That has been very useful for me. So I suggest you guys make some kind of modification like that if you are interested. Otherwise, this strop has a rough side and a smooth side. I have 4 micron Bark River emulsion on the 4 micron side, 1 micron Bark River emulsion on the smooth side. This strop works very well. So I just keep it at my table where I'm usually doing my work. This is just the one I keep most readily available, and I've had great luck with it. So I use this strop an awful lot. Works just fine. These are DLT Trading strops, and they are XL. So if you look them up on the DLT website, these will be the XL ones. They have some that are just the regular size, I think are about that long, which is probably actually more practical. These strops are almost too long to use, but the leather they use on these is amazing. I love it. So I have 2 of them. The only reason I have 2 is so that I can load them with 2 different grits. This particular strop, these strops are totally identical otherwise, as far as I can tell, aside from the fact that leather has imperfections in it that you're never going to get leather that's exactly the same. But this is my finer one. It's got 0.5 micron on the smooth side, 2 micron on the rough side. These are, again, Bark River emulsion. Bark River emulsions are loaded on these. So 0.5 micron on one side, 2 micron on the rough side. This other one I have is a more coarse grit strop. It's loaded with 8 micron on the smooth side and 16 micron on the rough side. So I just happen to keep this strop with me at my table alongside this one. So this way I have 1 micron, 4 micron, 8 micron, 16 micron. This other one that I have with the finer compound on it, I usually don't keep it at my table just because I'm limited in table space, and because these microns, 0.5 and 2, are very similar to 1 and 4. So I don't just keep this strop readily available. Therefore, I don't use this one as much just because it's not as readily available. But all of these strops with their compound, which again is Bark River CBN emulsion, these all work just fine. I have no complaints. They work great. They're kind of my go-to thing. Next are these DLT Trading bat type strops. Again, these are the ones that come with the crayon compound. So I have 2 of these strops. This would be the main one that I would use. So if you purchase one of these from DLT Trading, they come with 4 sides of leather. The leather is very, very thick, so it'll last a long time. It's really nice and hard and firm, just like I like it. They come with 3 sides of rough leather and 1 side of smooth leather. I would prefer if these were all just the smooth leather, but the rough leather works fine. But I prefer the smooth. So on each of these strops, I have loaded the rough sides with various kinds of compound, and I've kept the smooth side naked. I probably will eventually put compound on there because I don't prefer stropping on naked leather, but I also haven't tried it very much. So I will probably continue trying to strop on naked leather. And if I end up liking it, I want to just keep it up actually naked so I don't have to try to clean the compound out later. So I have not loaded the smooth side of either of these strops with any compound yet. So it's just naked leather. So on this one, I have diamond CBN emulsion, again, Bark River. I have 1 micron, and this is all rough leather, 1 micron, 4 micron, and 3,000 grit black crayon compound from the Bark River. I can't remember the conversion for grit to micron. Bark River claims that 1 micron equals 16,000 grit. 3,000 grit crayon compound should be very coarse. And 1 micron and 4 micron obviously are finer. So this is the coarsest is 3,000. 4 micron would be the next coarsest, and 1 micron would be the finest. So there's that one. This one I just have loaded up with the crayon Bark River compound that it comes with. So this one has the black 3,000 on that side, the green 6,000 on that side, and the white 12,000 on that side. And again, the smooth side is just still smooth naked leather. I actually really like these strops because they're really sturdy. They come with free compound. The leather works really well. It's really, really thick, but it's easy to drill a hole in something, I guess, and put a thong in it, but they already come this way. This is just how they come. I did not do this modification. So because they already come with the leather thong on there, I actually just hang these on the chair behind where I'm working. So at my kitchen table where I'm usually doing my work, I actually have these strops just hanging on a chair. So they're within ready access. So this Anger Stone strop, I only have this, and I have this sitting at my table in ready access. The only reason I have it here is because I'm kind of testing it out. This is the one I told you that came with those red and green colored crayon-based compounds. I have those crayon compounds loaded on here. So I have this one just sitting at the table because I want to try it out, and I've been doing that. This leather on this thing is actually really thick. This one's really, really soft. I don't like how soft and fuzzy this is, but I don't think that softness goes very deep into the leather. So I think if I use this side more, which I don't use this side very much, this fuzz will just flatten down and burnish. And pretty soon I think I'll have pretty good leather there. I just haven't used it enough to do that. I actually use this side the most because I like the way it feels. So I like using the smooth side on this one, so I haven't even broken in this side. So the reason I have this strop is just because I'm kind of trying it out. So now let's talk about wood. I do have a couple pieces of wood that I'm using for stropping. This one is tiny. This is the first one that I got. I ordered these off Amazon and I didn't realize that they said they're 3 inches. 3 inches is too small. I wish this was at least this long. So I have this loaded with 4 micron Bark River emulsion. CBN emulsion is what's on there. I just rubbed a little bit on there and it worked just fine. This actually turns out to be a perfect size for smaller knives, like my Sodbuster Jr. If you just need to strop something small, this actually is perfectly fine for size. It's perfectly fine for any knife that's 3 inches or less. Victorinox Swiss Army knives would be fine on here. This is a fake mini bug out. So mini bug out, it would be perfectly fine for that. So it turns out this size is actually quite useful. So I'm actually glad I got it because sometimes big strops are fine for small blades, but sometimes it's just easier to use a smaller one. So I keep it around and I use it for small blades. This is a strop I'm using a lot lately because I'm trying it out. So I love stropping on wood. I like the way it feels. I like that it doesn't squish. I like that I can kind of feel like my apex is still being really firm and I don't feel like I'm rounding over my apex or that the leather is lapping up underneath my blade and catching my finely tuned apex or anything. So I actually really like stropping on wood, but I haven't done it very much, so I'm still kind of trying it out. This is loaded with Stroppy Stuff 1/4 micron, 0.25 micron is what's on here. So on my channel, you've probably seen me recently using this strop quite a bit because I'm trying it out. So that's what's on there. That's what this is doing. I haven't even really broken this in yet. I have used it quite a bit, but it's actually lasting quite a while and is loading up actually quite slowly, which makes sense because it's very fine compound. In general, that is what I use for my stropping. There are hundreds of opinions about stropping and what works and what doesn't, and you will hear people say that for this steel you need 0.25 micron, and for that steel you need 4 micron, and it's like, that's probably true. People saying that are probably 10 times smarter than me, and they probably have 10 times more experience with said steels and said grits. But I suspect that the average person would be fine with a couple grits of compound, and 1 or 2 strops would probably get you by just fine. So don't feel like you need to buy 10 strops. Don't feel like you need to buy 10 different bottles of this stuff. It gets expensive. That's what I have for you. Those are the things I use. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. If you don't have a strop and you want to get into this, you're probably going to be best served by trying to find something that's good quality with good quality compound or emulsion. And for under $100, you will have a strop and some compound that will last you a very, very, very long time, and you will probably be fine. So that's my opinion. Your guys' opinions or mileage may vary, but stropping can be lots of fun. you can really change the final result of what your edge is like. You really can with stropping. You really can change what your final edge is in terms of sharpness, toothiness, or polish. And so I encourage you to try different things. Let me know what you think. And thanks for watching.